this is Paul Mackey, and this is One Idjit's thoughts on the format of this podcast. I recently celebrated a birthday and acquired some fun new DVD sets, but this got me to thinking I'd love to cover the shows on this podcast. I have a set of shows I'm covering currently, and there's a few shows I have in a little queue that I intend to cover next, plus these new ones that I'd also like to cover. So I did some math, which I'll spare you the full calculation of, but in summary, if I did one episode every week, well, I hope my longevity is above average, but the total I came up with would be questionable whether I could outlive my own podcast. When I conceived this podcast, I was intending to do 2 episodes every week and ramp up to 3 a week after I really got a habit going. But you might have noticed 2 a week and 3 a week have not been happening. Even the calculated 1 a week has been far from what I've accomplished of late. Aside from the perennial dog days sprees, the pace is very slow. There are factors, of course. I'm basically working 2 jobs, maybe not both full-time, but the driving has become closer to a full 6 to 8 hours per night that I do it, sometimes after a full-day shift as well. Tack on some of the necessary housework and life stuff, and perhaps a dash of sleep here and there. There's not a lot of time left to share any thoughts with you of any kind. So, I looked at what I do here. The cultural context, that day in history, charts and such is pretty quick information gathering process. The cast bio is similar. Sometimes it takes a little while to pick someone, but it's honestly mostly Wikipedia and IMDb for most performers. The artifactoid takes a bit more time, especially if I'm hunting for something to talk about. And watching the episode, aside from being a critical part about talking about the episode, also doesn't take much of the time involved. Watching it a second time, however, and repeatedly pausing and typing up the plot details, that takes some serious amount of time, and also requires more motivation than any of the rest. I've also noticed that the summaries have been rolling in more and more detail as well. So going forward, I think there will be change required. I'll probably roll the changes out gradually. After all, I have a Rockford Files episode mostly finished as we speak that I'll probably finish up before I try anything new. The lovingly detailed plot summaries must die. You'll probably get an overview more like a TV guide blurb, maybe a little more, and the rest of the stuff will probably mostly remain. If I don't spot a worthy artifactoid right away, there might not be one in that episode, but I see the context, the bio, the favorite lines, all as continuing elements. This might even provide a little bit more time for my likes and dislikes. After all, this podcast has my thoughts in the title. You might also find me including more than one show covered in an episode going forward. One obvious pairing would be Seeing Things and Press Gang, which I started together in part because they each have 43 episodes. I could foresee even tossing in a third shorter show on occasion if the timing worked out. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm still lucky to get 2 episodes a month out lately. Special episodes might still get deluxe treatment. Special episodes are a little harder to anticipate when it's a show I've never watched before, but with Moonlighting, for example, the difference between an average episode and a special one can be pretty black and white. So, I'm pretty sure the next thing you'll hear after this will be a single episode of the Rockford Files, but after that, we'll see what happens. Happy hunting! You've been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with Nimlas Studios. Any short clips of audio from shows is included under fair use for commentary purposes, and copyright for that content remains with its original copyright holders. The theme song is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by his generous permission. One Idjit's Thoughts is produced under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. You can find more episodes of this podcast and many other fine podcasts at nimlas.org. You can contact me by emailing idjitcastpodcast@gmail.com or commenting on episodes at nimlas.org. Sometimes a special moonlighting shoots off like a rocket. Sometimes a special moonlighting can be like Shakespeare.